Welcome, everyone. Today we learn about the amazing time of Alexandria. The Library of Alexandria was not just a place with scrolls. It was a big dream to bring all human knowledge together. But what was this place really, beyond the big stories we hear?
Yes, the library was more than just books. There were amazing inventions, early machines too. Think about this. A story says they had a basic steam engine long before others. What else was inside those walls?
The steam engine you mentioned, Guy, was more like a fun toy like Hero of Alexandria's aeolipile. It's strange how such technology was not used more, maybe showing an advanced understanding people did not grasp then.
And it was not just a library, it was the old world's research center. Scholars did not only read, they experimented, challenged ideas, and invented. Think about Archimedes' work on floating and levers, or how Eratosthenes measured the Earth's size with great accuracy. Can we judge libraries today by their cultural and experimental importance?
If the library was such a center of knowledge and experiments, why didn't its spirit last? Or did it change into something we've missed in history? People say the Library of Alexandria is about lost knowledge. But are the stories of its destruction true, or just myths told many times over?
What we know about its downfall is mostly myth, not fact. Take Julius Caesar's fire. Roman stories differ. Some do not even mention it. Was it made up to look bad for political enemies later?
Exactly, Guy. The idea of one big disaster is wrong. It was a series of bad events over time, and documents were partly kept alive by those who remembered them.
Yes, and even if scrolls were lost, the knowledge was spoken, translated, and rewritten. Scholars went all over the world spreading ideas. Did we forget that once ideas are out, they can live on, even if the papers are gone?
Think about the changes in power. Alexandria was not alone. It changed with empires rising and falling. Should we focus more on how knowledge changed rather than what was lost? Maybe knowledge is never truly lost, just changed or hidden.
Interesting, Michelle. Some of Alexandria's knowledge might still exist in surprising places. Ancient Indian texts or scholars from the Islamic Golden Age might have kept these ideas. Are we putting together a world puzzle and do not even know it?
And to do this, we should use science to find these links. For example, computers could track how scientific terms moved over time and place. Can we map the world's intellectual history?
History is like a big picture made of small pieces. We see the full image by looking at the pieces and how they connect. Ancient trade allowed cultures to share ideas. Now digital tools might find these lost talks between old societies. Isn't it funny how the digital world brings past truths to light?
If learning about the library's end shows us how strong knowledge is, how can this change how we save digital information today? Let's look at the destruction of the Library of Alexandria. How do alternative facts and counter-histories change what we know about it?
History is often shaped by winners. The story of one fire is exciting, but what if it was a slow decline due to neglect or politics? Are these slow changes overshadowed by dramatic stories?
Yes, Guy. The idea of one big event is too simple. Science needs us to see all the evidence. For example, changes in trade and politics over time hurt Alexandria's power. It didn't happen in one night.
Other stories show different views. The Islamic Golden Age kept and grew lost knowledge. Did they see Alexandria's fall as part of a bigger exchange of knowledge?
If these other stories exist, what do they tell us about our bias in history? Do we like exciting stories more than complex, true ones?
We like simple, dramatic stories because they're easy to share and teach. A big event is exciting. But what about the strength in everyday change and survival?
Making things simple isn't always bad. It helps us understand a lot of history. But true depth is in small changes that don't grab attention. Tech, like data analysis, helps us see small changes over time.
With new digital tools, we can look at these stories in new ways. By comparing sources and digitally rebuilding the past, we can find hidden stories. What if new stories say sharing knowledge, not losing it, was Alexandria's main story?
By focusing on other stories and facts, we might find a more complete truth that changes how we see not just Alexandria, but all history. Are we ready to accept that history might not have just one story? Let's turn to how Alexandria might still be alive today. Could the library be an early form of our modern idea economy? Can we learn from this ancient place in our time of patents and digital sharing?
Alexandria was a center for intellectual ideas. Scholars shared resources like never before. They traded ideas and improved them like open source software today. They loved shared progress. Does this spirit still influence us today?
The challenge is like today, competition versus working together. Like modern companies, ancient scholars had to choose if they kept their findings secret or shared them. With digital platforms, we face if we should share openly or protect our rights. Can we balance open access with protecting new ideas?
There is also a deep idea to consider. Alexandria was a common ground for ideas, like the internet was meant to be. When knowledge was shared, civilization grew. Today's talks about intellectual property could benefit from this. Does limiting access stop the growth that Alexandria had?
Are we trying to recreate the connecting energy of Alexandria, but struggle with free access and owning ideas?
You see it in how companies innovate the fight between competition and working together. The ancient Romans used Greek ideas without worry. Maybe our patents and copyrights are too tight, blocking innovation. Could going back to Alexandria's way offer a guide?
We use digital encryption like old watermarks on scrolls, a complex way to secure ideas while sharing with those who need it. If Alexandria could speak now, it might support systems that protect and promote growth. Can our laws change to match this better?
The library didn't just keep knowledge, it shared it widely. Our digital world can do the same. Like old trade routes spread ideas, maybe blockchain can help today, ensuring creators can safely share and create. What can we learn from Alexandria's legacy?
Maybe Alexandria teaches us that knowledge must be protected and shared to thrive. In a complex world, are we ready to change our systems to this old but new model? Or will we keep trying to balance two opposite forces? We've explored Alexandria's myths and truths. How does knowledge get lost over time? At the end, what does preserving knowledge mean? Is it just keeping records, or is there more?
Preserving knowledge isn't only about saving books or ideas. Think about oral traditions they taught us for many years. Is storytelling a way to preserve and grow the imagination?
True preservation needs effort and purpose. We must also save our mistakes as they help us grow. Look at the Library of Congress. It tries to collect everything, but do we care enough to keep it all digitally?
Yes, Ryan, there's a deep idea. Ideas live when they're used and talked about. A book alone gets dusty, but shared ideas grow and last. Should we focus on how knowledge connects with people?
So is preserving knowledge about making it easy to reach and part of life, instead of locking it away? Are future libraries places where ideas meet and change, not just old thoughts?
I'd agree. Think about digital libraries. They are like Alexandria, but without interaction, they stay as data. Should future preservation try to encourage talks like in the old times?
And as data keeps growing, using AI to help manage could change preservation. But can AI understand the human side of these ideas, or just list them? This is a big question for digital times.
Still, Ryan, isn't there something nice about not keeping everything forever? Some old ideas say not all knowledge must last sometimes. The key part is the idea's heart and its path. Do we focus too much on saving and not enough on moving ahead?
Our task is to both save and let go. Do we accept loss as part of change, trusting main truths to come back in new ways? Maybe that's Alexandria's hidden message. Knowledge changes by being saved and rethought.